Buying a home in Portugal should not feel like a gamble, but for most foreign buyers it does. Here the system is built around the seller. There is no MLS and agents are paid to get the highest price for the property, and that works against you. And they're not incentivized to get the best deal, show you all the properties that are on the market, and say what areas may tailor better to your lifestyle. So how can you make one of the biggest financial moves and decisions of your life in a market that is stacked against you? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how a dedicated buyer's agent can flip the script and put you back in control and help you save money instead of overpaying. So what is a dual agent and why does it matter? In Portugal, a person who is representing you and the agent that you're speaking to typically works for both the seller and the buyer in the transaction. And in almost all cases, their incentives are entirely aligned with the sellers. They want to get the highest price for the property on the seller's terms and make sure that the deal goes through. So what does this mean in reality? This means that they are going to tell you the wrong information about the property in a lot of cases. They may say it's a much better area, the appreciation is going to go up much more, and they're not going to inform you that maybe a few towns down the road is going to be better for you because you're closer to a school if you're looking to move with a family, or it may be a better investment property for holiday rentals, etc., etc. There are so many nuances, especially when you're purchasing in a new country and you may not know all the areas all that well. Sometimes you may be viewing a property in the winter season or the summer season, and that completely changes the dynamic of that town or city. So it's really important that you work with a buyer's agent and a dedicated agent that understands exactly what you're looking for so they can give you unbiased advice about the location, about the property, so you are going to feel safe and secure the entire time. And dual agents are really one of the biggest problems that I see in this market, because it's so important when you're making that big of a financial decision to have the best representation and people you trust that have their incentives. For example, this means that they get paid on their performance of negotiating the price down, of finding you the perfect property. They're not just paid off the commission of the sale. And the agent and the dual agent that you're working with may seem incredibly friendly and helpful, but when the price talk starts to happen and when they're trying to close the deal, they may be pushing you down the wrong way. If they understand what budget you're looking to purchase at, they know how much you may be willing to spend, and they're not going to try and save you that extra 50,000, 75,000, 100,000, or much more in the negotiation process, which of course is a lot of money, and that's wasted money that you could easily save if you're working with someone that understands the market, is speaking directly to the agent, understands how much negotiation room there is looking at all the data points possible on the market so you can get the best deal. So you can save tens or hundreds of thousands in this process very easily working with the right representation. So very quickly, what is a buyer's agent? A buyer's agent is someone that works for only the buyer and doesn't have any affiliation or ties to sellers. They don't list properties. All they do is they search the property market, they filter, they check, they negotiate, they collaborate with loads of different partners and agencies and agents and everything else you can imagine. So the whole process of purchasing a property, moving here, investing, anything else is as easy and stress-free as possible, and all their incentives should be aligned with yours. This means that they are incentivized to find you the perfect property in the best location. They shouldn't be just working in one location, because let's say if they're just working in the Algarve, it's good that they have knowledge in that market, but let's say your lifestyle may tailor better to Lisbon or the Alentejo or a surfing coast or something like that. You want them to be able to tell you that that location may work better, and they're not just tied to single cities, locations, towns, etc., etc. One of the most profound things that we have done with our buyer's agency here in Portugal is aligning pretty much every single incentive possible with our buyers. And I believe this is so important because people always act in their best interest. If their incentives are aligned to get the highest price for the property and they need to sell only the handful of properties that they have listed, well, they are going to do everything humanly possible to do that. That means maybe withholding some important information about that property and pushing the price higher. They know you're willing to pay more, so you can easily lose out in this scenario. So we do everything we can to align our incentives. So if you do want to hear more about the aligning incentives part and how we can help you, then you can click the first link in the description below to book a free call with us, and I would love to show you exactly how we can help you out with all of that. A really big thing about working with a buyer's agent is they're going to be your single point of contact throughout the whole process. Whereas typically in Portugal, you'd be working with a ton of different agents that represent the seller and the buyers with their handful of properties that they have listed. And they're going to be calling you, emailing you, messaging you all the time about the new property they have here. Look at this deal, look at that deal. And you are going to be bombarded with messages, and you're going to be on all their email newsletters, and it is going to be absolute mayhem. Whereas if you're working with a buyer's agent that reaches out to all of these agents, collaborates with them, speaks to them, they're going to be your single point of contact, only filtering through the best and most important information and properties from them, so you can be informed, you're not going to be bombarded with messages, and it'd be a huge headache for a long time. So that saves you time, money, and we filter through all the BS that is on the market and that the agents do spread sometimes, so we can save you a lot of headaches. So I touched on this a little bit before, but we start our process by learning exactly what your goals are, intentions are with moving or investing in Portugal. So we learn what type of lifestyle you're looking for, whether it's a bit more relaxed, laid back, you're into sports, you love golf, etc., then perhaps the sunny, beautiful Algarve may be the best option for you. Or if you're looking for more of a metropolitan city and buzz, then Lisbon might be the best option for you. But then within each one of these regions, there are loads of different towns and different areas where you may want to live. For example, in the Algarve, you have the central, you have the west, you have the east, and they're all very different to one another. Of course, we also understand the exact budget that you're looking for as well. So then we can come to different compromises on where you would like to live. Now, if you have a preset place in your mind, if you visited Portugal a lot, stayed in a bunch of different areas, then we can obviously work in any location in mainland Portugal, and we have access to all the properties in each one of these locations. So there is no issue for us to work anywhere. In Portugal, there is no national and regulated MLS system. So that means you can look on portals for properties such as Idealista and other big portals and players in the space, but they do not show all the properties for sale, and they are unregulated. So there are a lot of properties on there that have already been sold and they are off the market and they're just fishing for new leads. So it's important, and these portals can be a really good, useful tool for understanding the market, for looking in certain areas and what property prices are, so you can understand your budget, tailor it to. But again, you are not seeing all the properties here by any means. There are lots of off-market properties, a lot of agencies that don't advertise their properties on here. So it's really, really important that you use this as an informational tool. And we also use this as an informational tool to understand what properties are there in case they don't show up on other agency sites or we're not seeing them. So we understand that they're a good tool, but do not rely on them, as they can cause a lot of misrepresentation on the market as well. Now, this leads me on to our next point. So how do we source and search for properties? So there's two main ways in which we do this. We have our own software that only agents have access to, that allows us to see all the properties that are on the market. It scrapes all the real estate agency websites that have only a few properties on them and all the portals as well. So we have access to all the data on there. That means we can see how long the property's been on the market, if there's been any price reductions. As I mentioned, there's no MLS, so we can't see what previous properties have been sold for. We can't see how long the property's actually been on the market and all the things like this. So we can only rely on the data that's scraped. So we accumulate all the data possible, every single data point we can get for each property, so we can save in the negotiations, we understand if there's any issues with the property, etc. So this is a really important thing, as data really is king when it comes to purchasing real estate. The next way we source properties is through all of our extensive network of partners. So we send out a mass email to all of our partners asking for the exact criteria that you have, that property, if they have any off-market listings or listings that may have not already hit the market because they're brand new, so we can get you there in first. And that amounts to a ton of properties. So if you're just looking at these properties that are on the portals, you're missing out on so many different options, and that could be the difference between making an incredible investment or missing out on potentially your dream home that you could have had. And that is almost invaluable, the access that we give you. Because we have been in business for many years now, we have partners that help you out from A to Z throughout the entire process. The partners that we recommend, we have worked countless times with, so we know how they work, how good they are, and we only work with the very best. We have tried loads of different partners for lawyers, for accountants, for property surveyors, everything you can imagine. So we make sure we have found the best people and we get them for the best price. Because we refer lots of clients to them, we are able to get the prices very favorably for all of our clients. For example, when it comes to lawyers, if you look online, you're looking at potentially a 1% fee for legal fees. Instead, we are able to get that at a very low fixed price, and they do everything and at a much higher standard than pretty much all the other real estate lawyers that we have experienced in Portugal. So every single step of the way, we have all the partners necessary to make the transition as smooth as possible when you're purchasing a property here. So who do we work with? We work with clients at a minimum budget of 300,000, and we have worked with buyers who have purchased at 10 million plus euros. So we work with absolutely anyone in that range and have different types of tiers and packages for each budget, so we can tailor exactly to your needs so you are fully taken care of. We provide a very boutique service and only work with a few clients at a time. So if you are interested, you can click the first link in the description below to book a free call with me or a member of my team to find out more on all of our incredible services and to get independent buyer representation. So I look forward to seeing you there, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.